Nostalgia sells. Ever since the release of Suikoden I and II HD, I have just been in this incredible nostalgic mood to play these 2D classic JRPGs of the past. And we have the impending release of the Lunar Remaster Collection coming next month. So I have a treat for you guys today. I haven't done a listing video in quite a long time, and in today's video we are going to talk about my favorite 2D nostalgic JRPGs that you must play. Warning, this video will have heavy elements of nostalgia, and I'm going to take you back into some times where things were quite simple. So let's go ahead and jump right into some of my favorite 2D JRPGs of all time. Come on, I have to start with the title that inspired this entire video. If you have not played Suikoden I and II HD yet, what are you waiting for? What are you doing? Go get your hands on this. The game just charted for the second week in a row in the Japanese top 5 of sales, and everyone is having a stellar experience with these brand new coat of paint remasters. I have to give it to Konami. They have done quite a phenomenal job, and I haven't seen this many people of a fan base happy in a very long time. No one seems to have any major issues with the remasters, and it seems like Konami has brought the legacy of the Suikoden game to modern audiences in a successful effort. So if you want to see amazing story, great gameplay, over 108 playable characters, go ahead and consider checking out Suikoden I and II HD, some of my favorite JRPGs of all time. Yes, Pokemon Ruby and Pokemon Sapphire. Guys, these games are very, very important and special to me. During this time, these were some of the only JRPG type games I could actually play due to circumstances and situations, and with them being handheld, I put so many hours onto these games. This is my favorite generation of Pokemon ever, and there has never been another time where I've been this involved with a Pokemon game, and I honestly wish that they would go back to this similar style. Amazing music, amazing graphics, or at least at the time, and the world of Hoenn was so exciting and fresh and new to me. I remember buying the guidebook to play this game and playing alongside on my Game Boy SP. Oh, just pure nostalgia. But from the JRPG elements to the pocket monster catching elements, Pokemon Ruby Sapphire will always have a special place in my heart. Yes, I don't know if people consider Pokemon a JRPG, but I'm doing it in this video. And when you talk about nostalgia, man, take me back to 2003. But yeah, you gotta get your hands on one of these classic Pokemon games, not the stuff that they be releasing now. Pokemon Ruby fans, let me know if you're down in the comment section below. Now, some of you are going to think I'm crazy. Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes, this game just came out last year. Well, wait a second. This game brought me back to a time where I truly loved and enjoyed 2D JRPGs. Majority of the time, I'm typically a 3D JRPG player. Some of my most favorite JRPGs are in that sort of graphic style. But Eiyuden Chronicle last year managed to take me back to a time that I was just in love with the 2D sprites, the 2D animation, and the whole aesthetic of this sort of world. So while this game is obviously a modern 2D JRPG, I still found it worthy of being on this list because it is a homage to Suikoden directly. It is a homage to Suikoden I and II directly. So if you're looking for some sort of modern nostalgia, go ahead and consider checking out Eiyuden Chronicle. It's not perfect, it's a little rough around the edges, but I'm so excited for its future, and I believe it deserves to be on this 2D JRPG list. Alright, now it's time to stop playing. Let's move over to a truly nostalgic JRPG for me, and that is Tales of Phantasia. This is the first Tales of game ever created. If you love the Tales of series, then this game right here is the game that started it all. Pure, beautiful 90s nostalgia, pure, beautiful 90s elements, classic graphics, great gameplay for its time. And when I see this game, I just see the seed of something so amazing. And when you look at the Tales of series now, it's pretty much a well-known JRPG franchise, but it all started here with the first game. In fact, I really truly wish they would remake the first game. There's so many great elements in Phantasia that if it was brought back in maybe a HD 2D style, it would be absolutely incredible. And I'm sure that Bandai Namco could create some sort of beautiful project if they would give the first Tales of game a little bit more love. I'm still pulling for that, but this game had a great story. I still think the characters, sometimes simple is better. Sometimes we get a little bit too convoluted and things just become a little fake. But the first Tales of game was just an honest, real effort at a nice classic JRPG, and it was a action JRPG. So I consider you guys, I really highly recommend you checking out Tales of Phantasia. Great story and just a simple JRPG that takes you back to the good old times of the 90s. And moving over to the cousin of the Tales series, the Star Ocean series, particularly Star Ocean: The Second Story. Well, the second story R came out in 2023, and you know what? It was a phenomenal game. I absolutely loved Star Ocean: The Second Story R, and it was one of the best JRPG remakes I have ever played, perfectly combining that 2D HD aesthetic that we've all come to know and love. And these games right here are pretty much the cousin of the Tales of series, because at one point these developers were also developers for the original Tales of Phantasia, and they went off to do their own thing. So that's pretty cool. But this game right here is an action JRPG that turned out beautifully. Some people didn't like the way that the sprites meshed with the 3D backgrounds, but for me, this was a JRPG remake perfection. High-paced battle system, awesome voice acting, classic voice acting, and just a blast to play, especially if you've never really played the Star Ocean games. I highly recommend Star Ocean: The Second Story R, and in fact, the year that it came out, it was my JRPG of the year. So consider giving this classic 2D remake, or even the original version, a try. You will not be disappointed. Next is a classic named Grandia 1. Now, this game right here is the start of one of the greatest JRPG battle systems of all time. Dare I say it, probably my favorite JRPG battle system of all time. Amazingly done remaster as well. The Grandia series is one of those underrated pioneers of the JRPG community, in my opinion. Just the combat is something I cannot get over. It's real time, but then it's also turn-based as well. Great graphics, and to me it was doing the 2D, 3D thing before it even became a huge deal. It has a relatively decent story, and if you're looking for a Saturday morning cartoon adventure that's lighthearted, man, you can go no wrong with Grandia 1. These do have a HD remasters of 1 and 2, with Grandia 2 being my favorite of the franchise, but that is a 3D JRPG and we're not here for that today. If you're looking for a classic underrated JRPG, go check out Grandia 1. You will not be disappointed. That battle system will reel you right on in. If you're looking for an introduction to strategy RPGs, look no further than the classic Shining Force 1, Shining Force 2. These are games back from the Sega Genesis, and these are some of my favorite strategy games of all time. In fact, it's the only strategy JRPGs that I actually like. I'm talking about, it just does everything so well. I know Fire Emblem's all the rage these days, but Shining Force to me is strategy RPG perfection. If you're looking for a nostalgia blast from the past, see if you can get your hands on Shining Force 1 or Shining Force 2. They are typically in a lot of the Sega collections, but I cannot recommend these games enough. I wish and dream that these games would be remade in a proper and real fashion someday, especially seeing how Unicorn Overlord just took the whole RPG world by storm. Imagine what an actual classic from the past would do to today's gamers. They would fall in love with the original and the second Shining Force. Let's hope that someday, since Sega's on this revitalization initiative with their properties, let's hope we see Shining Force in there someday in its proper glory. And lastly is a JRPG from this era that I cannot believe has not came back in some way, shape, or form, especially with all the remaster collections and remakes that have been happening. Breath of Fire 4 in particular was one of my favorite Breath of Fire games of all time, but that's just not it. The entire franchise is pretty darn good. You really can't go wrong with too many of them. Now, of course, as every fandom, we all have our favorite ones that we like or dislike, or ones that's better than the other, but this is no reason that the Breath of Fire series should not be alive today. And if you haven't tried it out, you should definitely consider checking out one of the Breath of Fires. Just stay away from Dragon Quarter if you can, if you want the best first impression of what this series is really about. If you also haven't noticed, this is a JRPG series from Capcom, and Capcom is on top of the gaming world right now. So if they really wanted to get into a different pocket, they should definitely bring back Breath of Fire. But if you haven't tried any of these games, consider trying to find a way to get your hands on one of these, as unfortunately they are not available by modern standards, but hopefully we can change that with more videos like this bringing attention to the franchise. Capcom, let's get busy. What are you guys waiting on? So guys, that wraps up my list of nostalgic 2D JRPGs you should go back and play. The game I have here on the screen right now is Seed of Nostalgia, which is one of the current indie JRPGs in development that are looking to capture some of that essence of these classic 2D 90s era JRPGs. So I'm just super excited about the future of our genre and just the past and the history. Use this video as a way to celebrate and go back and find out a little bit more about the genre you call your favorite. Thank you guys for watching the video. I appreciate every single one of you. I haven't done a list in forever, so I really hope you guys enjoyed this list from the heart. Alright y'all, subscribe if you liked it. I'll see you on the next video, and let me know what are your favorite 2D JRPGs that I left out. Alright, peace.